Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the hearing to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and the traditional lands, the Ojibwe, the Cree, the Dakota people, and the national homelands of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Ron Merritt. I'll be your chairperson this afternoon. Introducing the panel members is Gail Anderson via Zoom and Mr. Bill Moretsky. Our recording secretary is Belen Rojo, and our assessor is Savannah Schobel. This afternoon, we'll be hearing an application for revision. Application for business assessment rule in accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter. The matters for which revision is requested has been described in each application, and we will limit discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anybody speaking in these matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The board is appointed annually by City Council and is independent along with the City Administration. We make our decisions based on the evidence provided at this hearing and issue a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decision in respect to application may be appealed to the Management Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to application from exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the board's order. In respect to the hearing this afternoon, I will confirm the points of appeal of the property to be addressed with each of the applicants following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then it'll be the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each party will have the opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all evidence about the application was brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket this afternoon. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live stream recorded and will be part of the public record. This afternoon, we'll be hearing items 4, 5, and 7 to 9. Mr. Rojo, can you swear in the assessor and affirm the applicant's testimony?
Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Svetlana Scheibel.
And do you affirm the evidence you're about to present at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Lyle Rock.
And do you affirm the evidence you're about to present at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Right, we will first go to the first property that we have is number 1010 Arlington Street. Ms. Scheibel, whenever you're ready, you can take us through this property.
Business assessment file number 22-4116. Location is 1010 Arlington Street. Business roll number 17735. Owner is Winters Auto Body Limited. The subject business is car auto repair service. Consists of premise 22,400 square feet. Total annual value of $316,440 with overall rent $14.38. That include occupancy cost on the base rent for this premise, and $12.21. It's owner occupied space. On page number 2, presented my rent comparables for similar type of property, service garage. For example, my first comparables on Stedison Street has a very small $2.7 thousand square feet rent and $7.50. My second comparables, 3331 Portridge Avenue, lease for around 3,000 square feet at $21. My comparable number 3, 1118 Chevier Boulevard, a lease 3,000 square feet at $12 per square foot. My comparables number 4, 721 Watt Street, lease for 1,400 square feet at $29.30. My comparables number 5, 1315 Henderson Highway, lease 2,116 square feet at $18.34. Comparable number 6, 484 St. Mary Road, lease for 4,000 square feet at $14 per square foot. Comparable number 7, 1429 Clarence Avenue, lease for around 7,000 square feet at $13 per square foot. Comparables number 8, 1870 Kings Edward Street, lease for around 80,000 square feet and $10.12. Comparable number 9, 2645 Pembina, lease for 3,000 square feet and $12.25. Comparable number 10, 1861 Pembina Highway, lease around 8,000 square feet at $9 per square foot. It gives us average $14.65 and media $12.63. On same page, we can see that vehicle service garage, they showed net lease, but on page number 3, let's check there. It's income expense smaller. On page number 3, we can see all recoveries, but no rent exists for this type of property. So based on my comparables, the assessment of $316,440 is fair and should be confirmed. Thank you. Any questions?
I thank you. Mr. Rack, questions of the assessor?
No, I have no questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Just in regards to your comparables, Ms. Shavel, which one would you say is the closest to the property?
My comparables closest to the property will be bigger square footage. For example, King Edward, around 18,000 square feet for $10.50, but this lease started in 2019. We have to upward adjustment for 2 years, time adjustment. Biggest comparables also, for example, on Pembina, around 8,000 square feet and $9. But this lease started in 2017. We have to upward adjustment for 4 years. So, and when you can see that media $12.63 for 10 existing comparables, and we apply $12.21, it's fair, it's inside range presented by 10 comparables.
Okay, and your 10 comparables, the majority are quite a bit smaller square footage. Just wondering, is this unique, the size of this?
Yes, it's unique, and plus my comparables, it's not franchise, it's not Carl Tire, not Loop, oil change. It's just private service garages, existed in our portfolio.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. Those are all my questions, Mr. Chair.
I thank you. Mr. Boretsky?
Yeah, on those comparables, are these also body shops, these other 10 comparables, or are there be different types of vehicle service garages?
Yes, it's similar with subject property, audio body shops, yeah. It's service garages.
Service garages, but not necessarily auto body shop. It could be mufflers, transmissions, or whatever.
It's service garage. It can be done everything inside.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's a service garages. What service they provide?
Okay, so you're not sure which ones are actual body shops then, correct?
Usually a service garage, they do it body shops as well.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have none. Mr. Rack, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. If you look at page 1, you can see some pictures of the subject property. And the subject property is not a service garage. It has 2 entrances to it. And they, as you can see how wide it is, they probably could have 4 rows of cars in there. The difference between a service garage, if you go down to page 2, those are pictures of service garages. Pound Tire, Goodyear, the Super Tuna Brake, Maxim Muffler, and the one on the Phillips Speedy Auto Glass, I believe it is. The difference is a service garage has multiple entrances, doors. It's not very deep, so that cars can go in and out. And they would have lifts in them. Some of them have service pits. So they're basically for servicing cars, oil changes and repairs, etc. If you look at the top page 1, you'll see it's a body shop, which is a total different building. A body shop is basically a storage warehouse that's been used to repair cars. You wouldn't actually do any kind of service in that kind of facility because oil and those kind of things are contaminants for painting. So there are no lifts in there. There's basically no pits or anything like that. And the difference is that a service garage can only be used for servicing vehicles. It's a single-use property. The subject property, if the body shop moved out, it could be a storage warehouse, transportation warehouse, distribution. You could even make it into a retail store if you wanted to. So they're not comparable properties. So again, on page 2, you'll see what Fountain Tire looks like. Multiple doors in the front and the back. Goodyear, Maxim Muffler, and the location on the, I guess, the Speedy Auto Glass on the Phillips. So they're not comparable. One's a service garage, one's a warehouse. So if you look on the next page, on page, page 3 shows the assessment of 1221. If you look at the next page on page 4, see Mako Auto Body. So Mako Auto Body has been coded at the assessment department as a storage warehouse, which is correct. That's what the building is. And you'll see on that building, it has 2 doors on it, and it's quite deep. So the city has coded some of them as warehouses and some of them with service garages. The service garage coding is incorrect. So if you turn down to page 5, you'll see that was in an appeal, and basically the actual rent for that is $5.46 a square foot, and the board's decision this year was at $6. So I have some comparables that are similar to the property, subject property, which are basically warehouses. You got 19 Bentall at $6.50, which is a nice warehouse. Church at $5.95, which is not as nice. You can see the back of it where it's just got single garage doors going in. You'll now go to the next one on page 7, 1141 Fife, 12,535 square feet at $5.50, which is quite similar, nicer location. You got 60 Paramount at $6, 24,000 square feet. Has a lot of parking around it. Nice building, quite similar to the subject property. You've got Bannister, 12,000 square feet at $6, not as nice. And then we go down to page 8, where these are the assessors' comparables for some warehouses this year. And you've got 925 Q8, which is a better location, lots of parking in front of it. And that was $650. And if you keep going down, you get 1313 King Edward, which is a very nice building, same as the subject. It's got some office space in the front, one door at the side to go in. Same type of warehouse as the subject property. So then you go down and to page 9, you'll see some comparables, which I've used for some warehouses, and you got the assessors comparables for some 2023 appeals. And the ranges are like 550 to 775 on King Edward, with an average of about 628. So below that were the assessors comparables for the Mako Auto Body Shop this year. And you'll see they run from 575 to 650 with an average of 620 per square foot. So the apartment's using 1221. That's way too high. In 2020, the range was in the $7, and there was actually a certificate agreement at that amount. So I'm looking at today that basically the rent for that property should be around $7 a square foot based on its location. It doesn't have very much parking around it, which makes it hard to move to park cars outside. So at $7 a square foot, using the parameters for the heat, hydro, water, and air conditioning, looking at a total value of $201,340 annual rental value. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Leibel, questions of Mr. Rack?
Yes, please. On page number 9, you presented assessor comparables. It's from industrial properties department, correct?
Yes, they were warehouses.
So, and we have garage service. It's has a better locations that your comparables presented on same page. It's Arlington. It has better view, correct?
Arlington has, say that again, please.
Arlington, where subject property locate, has better view, better explosion for vision.
No, it doesn't. And there's a lot more traffic going down King Edward than there is in Arlington. It's located in Arlington just by the Arlington Street Bridge. So I would say the King Edward location is much superior. Since you got King Edward and Century where there's thousands of cars go by.
Subject property has 22,000 square feet of area and plus land area of 32,000, correct? So we have 10,000 square feet. It's parking space.
Are you speaking about the King Edward, the Q8 property?
No, we're still on subject property. You're talking about not your statement that here not enough parking space. Subject property has 32,000 square feet of site and 22,000 square feet of building. So we have 10,000 square feet of land, correct, for parking around building.
I can't confirm or just confirm that.
No further questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Moratsky?
With this, because it's a body shop, to your knowledge, would this have any specialized equipment that would need a unique structure, let's say, inside the building, other than what these other warehouses would need? Like for let's say you have to straighten out, the frame of a truck? Would you not need something very substantial as a structure to anchor it against, something of that nature?
It does have a frame machine. It is a certified body shop for Autopack, so it does have a frame machine. The frame machine is actually on wheels. All the frame machines I've seen in body shops, they actually are on wheels, and they basically anchor the car to the machine itself. It's like a hoist, but it doesn't go up and down, and it moves around. It's its own separate entity. And it has to be that way because that way it has the integrity of being level. So that's the only thing that's in there. And again, it can be moved around. It's actually on wheels. All the ones I've seen are actually on wheels. The only thing that is anchored down in there is a spray booth, but spray booths are modular. They can be taken apart and moved. But they're not a permanent fixture.
And you mentioned spray booths, so of course there is car painting going on in there, and would it not need a specialized exhaust system?
Yes, it does have the exhaust system is actually built right into the booth. So all you need is a pipe going outside the building, but it's all integrated within the booth itself. And the booth is, like I say, you can, it comes apart. That's why, it has to come apart just to get it in the building. But it can be dismantled and moved if you would change locations or for some reason, if the body shop shut down, they could sell that booth and just take it apart. It's modular.
But it also would need some other mechanical systems to supplement that, like, for instance, make up air unit or things like that, right? Because you're pressure inside the building, things of that nature.
Yeah, it's all integrated within the booth itself. It's self-contained. Nothing that you actually have to put on the roof of the building or whatever. It's actually contained within the booth structure itself. It's a modular unit, and the fans and the filters everything's built right into the booth itself.
Okay, thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rack. You've represented this property, 1010 Arlington Street, for the business tax appeal the last go round?
Yes, I did.
Okay. The last few times?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, let's go on to the next one, which is 3404 Portage Avenue. Ms. Schleibel, whenever you're ready, you can take us through this property.
File number 22-4108, roll number 4872. We have Super Loop Limited. The properties, it's a service garage property, has 10,000 leasable area, whole property, and land area around 33,000 square feet, located in zoning commercial corridor. We assessed subject business assessment and $147,540. That include area of 7,287 square feet and overall rent $20.25. This rent include occupancy cost. It's subject. It's owner occupied properties. We overall base rent, net rent, $17.75. On page number 2, I have presented 5 comparables. These comparables similar to the subject property. It has superior location, typical occupied by quick service location or or on and franchises, usually have pit or hoist, superior construction quality, typical masonry construction, good quality overhead door and window, usually located on main thoroughfare with high visibility, like subject property. So my first comparable, number 1, 1064 McPhillips Street, area of 4.3 thousand square feet, rent at $15.50. My comparable number 2, 2735 Pembina Highway, rent 3.5 thousand square feet at $20.50. Comparable number 3 on 107 Vermiller Road, Dry Road, lease 5.4 thousand square feet at $20.50. Comparable number 4, 20 Lakewood Boulevard, rent around 8,000 square feet for $20. Comparable number 5, 226 St. Anne Road, lease around 2,000 square feet at $23.25. So our average for this type of properties, $19.95 cents per square foot, and media $20.50. We did assess property at $17.75. It's fair. On same page, we can see that the subject property on 34 Portridge, it's owner occupied. It's a service garage. So based on my evidence, based on comparables, the assessment is fair and should be confirmed at $147,540. Thank you. Any questions?
I thank you. Mr. Rack, questions of the assessor?
Yes, I do. Going back to Arlington, at Arlington you had 12 comparables, or 10 comparables, service garages, and the average you had was $12.12.
Correct. Previous was inferior.
Just let me finish my question, please. I haven't finished. So you have an average of $12.12 on 10 comparables.
Correct.
And now you're using 5 comparables, and you found 4 that are worth $20. Why did you not include any more comparables, such as for the garage?
Because it's 2 different properties. Previous properties was comparables for inferior properties, typically occupied by independent operation, not quick service garage like existing subject property. May or may not have hoist, rarely have pits, typically steel frame construction reassembled in warehouse, not usually on main thoroughfare or have less visibility. These type comparables give us $12.63 in media. Current subject property on the 3404 Portridge Avenue, it has superior properties. It's typically occupied by quick service locations and franchises like subject property, Loop Limited, usually have pits and superior construction quality, typical masonry construction, good quality overhead door and window. And they're usually located on thoroughfare with high visibility. That's why give us media $20.50. So I have 2 separate set of comparables for specific subject property.
Oh, so the 1010 Arlington, you're using smaller values because it's like a warehouse?
Yes, it's usually steel frame construction reassemblies in warehouses and not quick service locations and independent operations. That's why it's $12.63.
Okay. And you're saying that these comparables are superior because they're on the street where they get better exposure?
Better exposure, they have pits. Usually this type of property have pits and super construction quality. And usually it's typical masonry construction, good quality overhead door in windows, and usually they're located in the commercial zoning.
Okay,
That's why it's higher assessment.
Did you know that Did you know that the subject property is not a franchise?
But it has similar construction. Subject property occupied 4 pits with owner occupied, full owner occupied, yes. And I can see it's located in the commercial corridor zoning. It's more expensive than industrial zoning.
Okay. Are you aware that comparable 3 on Vermilion Road and comparable 4 on Lakewood Boulevard, they're located in the Southdale Shopping Center, correct?
Correct. Because a standalone service garage are usually owner occupied, so we use some shopping malls that lease provided, and this lease show $20.50 average.
Would you not agree that the Vermilion Road and the Lakewood property being in Southdale Shopping Center would be pad leases?
It's leases it's net leases provided to us, but subject property has better location. It's facing Portridge Major Road, Highway number 1.
That's all my questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. They've been asked and answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boretsky?
Yes, your comparables on page 2,
Mm-hmm.
are those oil change franchises, Luke?
Yes, they usually have pits and they usually franchises or quick services.
So just in respect to franchisor and franchisee relationships,
Mm-hmm.
so on these comparables, if they are franchises, would then it actually be arm's length rent amounts?
No, they usually rent net lease. They rent space.
So
but
wouldn't those rents be a little inflated though in those situations?
I don't think so.
Because they sort of are the same. How shall we say, the same owners in a way, right?
To example, my first comparables is Fontaine Tire, second comparables Midas Auto, third comparables Fontaine Tire, fourth comparables Boyd Auto Body, and fifth Mr. Loop.
So there's only one that's actually an oil change place then.
But all these comparables, construction and space similar to the subject property with good explosion.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Rack, we're ready for your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some information. It should be listed as 2023 vehicle service garages info. It covers basically all the following properties.
It's the last document in our agenda, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Rack, is that rebuttal information?
No, it was submitted at the same time as I submitted all my briefs because I anticipated that the comparables assessor was using, which were used in realty, I anticipated that those would be the same ones used, so I supplied that information.
All right. How about if we go through your presentations, and then we'll look at that in summary at the very end. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So take us through your presentation.
Okay. So you can see there's a picture of the property. The lube in the front is on a separate roll number. So that part of that property is not in discussion today. The lube has got its own roll number. We're talking about the garage in the back. So if you go to page 2, you'll see how it's being assessed. It's basically with all these 3 different, I don't know why they've split the garage up into 2 roll numbers. It's the same building, but we're getting basically the main floor on page 2. The main floor is 3196 square feet, and there's a mezzanine. So in other words, there's 2 parts that are on the main floor, 3196 square feet and 2,708 square feet for a total of 5,904 square feet main floor. And there's a mezz, which is 1,383 square feet. So the department's rents are basically using 1991, 2014, and 990. So if you go to page 4, and this is a bulk of my argument here, that basically the assessors picked out 4 of the top rents she could find in the entire city, which are basically, as you'll see in the document at the end, they're basically pad leases. So on page 4 and page 5, I've listed 47 rents of garages similar to the subject property. That's 47. So if you start off, you'll see that there's rents from Altus, there's city rents, more Altus rents, TGS Realty rents, some more Altus rents, and my rents on the page 5, assessors comparables after that. And we've got some rents for the 1010 Arlington for that was for BA back in 2020, but there's still leases are still ending in 2022. So I've got 47 rents. So there's a lot of rents you can get out there. If you wanted to basically look at what something should rent for, here's all of them. And I didn't include some of the rents the assessor has, because the Pembina Highway, the Vermilion, and the Lakewood, and the St. Anne's are all pad leases, which I will get to. So out of those 47 rents, the average is $12.96. And some of these are for buildings that are actually coded as service garages, the low ones. But one is Body Shop in King Edward. There's some that basically that are not similar to the subject, like a service garage with all the doors in the front. So I picked on page 6, I picked the 12 best ones that are similar to the subject. And there's actually one on Portage Avenue, number 10, Fountain Tire, $11.99. So basically the average rents of all those properties, the highest is $19.80, the lowest is $7.99. And they're basically $12.96 a square foot. Now the median falls between $13.24 and $13.75. So let's go through them. So you see, number 3 is Midas at $19.80 on St. Anne's. The next one is McPhillips, which assessor had at $15.50. Then we go to Henderson Highway, Tony's at $18.33. We go to Boyd, and I use Boyd because it has multiple doors on it. It was like a service garage, but now they're using it for basically auto body. So it's got multiple doors at $13.75. Go down to page 8, number 18 is Fountain Tire downtown. Then you go to the Ultimate Glass on Scurfield, which has multiple doors, $7.99. Go down to 960 Pembina Highway, $12.75. Then you go to 1761 Pembina Highway, which is 1642. 1429 Henderson Highway, was 38 in that list, is at 1324. And you got 3020 Portage Avenue, which is close to the subject, at $11.99. Then you go to 960 Pembina at $12.75. And finally, Cal Tire at $16.04. So the average rents of all those, which are exactly, basically physically they're the same type of building as the subject property. I mean, as close as you can get. It doesn't look exactly the same, but in essence, it is the same type of property. And the average rents of those 47 properties I showed you was basically $12.96, and the median on these properties falls between $13.24 and $13.75. Well, I'm applying a rent of $13.50. On the first there, you got the main floor at 5,904 square feet at $13.50. Then you have the mezzanine, which I put in at half the value. It's 2,515 square feet at $675. So you're getting a total annual rental value of $114,790. So if you go to the next page, you'll see pictures of the inside and pictures of the mezzanine. So the picture on the top left, as you can see through that door there, there's a staircase going upstairs. The picture on the right is when you get to the top of the stairs, that's what you see. You go down to the last two bottom pictures, so part of that area is used for storage, and the other part of that area overlooks the service area. So there's no walls up there. So any fumes or anything that's coming out of that area goes up into the mezzanine. So that's why it's at half price. Typically speaking, that would be included in the main floor rent. I don't have any comparables that would show that, although every picture I showed you of every garage I'm using as a comparable, they all have a mezzanine. The mezzanine is above, usually the mezzanine would be above and behind the entrance when you walk into the store. If you've ever been to a Fountain Tire or Goodyear, you walk in there, there's a small area the service counter, and then behind that would be some offices. Well, above that area, because the service area goes right to the top of the roof, because you got to pick a car up on a hoist and bring it up high, so that requires open ceilings right to the top of the building. On the part where you walk in the building, where the counters are, the ceilings are lower at the back, and there's always a little mezzanine back there to utilize the efficiency of space. So I'm looking today to have it reduced to $13.50 on the main floor by my comparables, and $6.75 for the mezzanine. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stubble, questions of Mr. Rack?
Yes, please. On page number 7 of agent brief, just let's look first three comparables. They have a good explosion to the road, like St. Anne, McPhillips, Henderson.
Excuse me, what page are you speaking about?
On page number 6.
Oh, 6. Okay.
So we can see first three comparables, 90-80, 15-50, and 80-34. So it's range between 50-50 and 19-80. It's a range for subject property assessed base rent around $18 per square foot, correct?
Which comparable are you speaking about?
Your free comparables very well support the assessed rent rate around $8 per square foot, correct?
About $8, did you say?
$18.
No, I have a range of comparables. They don't support 18. The comparables I have, I got 47 comparables that basically are $12.96. And I picked 12, which range, the lowest is $7.99. You've got $15.50, $13, $11, $12, and I'm using a medium number of $13.50. So the comparables, you could say that basically I mean, you've got a downtown location, which is a good location at $13. You've got the Scurfield. You've got Pembina Highway, which has the same exposure as the subject property, $12.75. And you've got Henderson Highway, which is great exposure at $13.25. And then you've got 3020 Portage Avenue, which is close to the subject. I mean, it's only blocks away from the subject, and it's at $11.99. So no, my comparables don't support $18. My comparables support, as my evidence has shown, basically medium rent at $13.50.
Thank you. No further questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Thank you. Just in regards to your comparables, the 12 on page 6, my question relates to the one on Scurfield, 31 Scurfield. It just seems to be quite a bit lower than the others at $7.99. Do you know what period that lease is for?
The Scurfield. Give me 1 second and I will tell you. That's comparable number 40, which is on page 5. So that goes from March of 2018 to February of 2023. And that is shown on page 5, and it's comparable number 40. All my comparables, the pictures have numbers on them, like, go up to 33, 38. And now those ones actually are the numbers on page 4 and page 5. That goes to 2023.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
I thank you. Mr. Moretsky?
Yeah, just to clarify your comparables, Mr. Rock, here on your 47 that you have, the average out to $12.96 a square foot, and that's the base rent, correct?
Correct.
Now on
base rent or net rent, or however you want to call it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, and on page 6, where you have your 12 best, or however you want to characterize it, that also is $12.96. Is that did you just carry that number down, or is that the coincidental exact same average?
That's funny you bring that up, because I saw that too, and I kind of recalculated everything, and that's just coincidence that's the number it comes out to. I wish it didn't, but that's what it is.
Oh, maybe today you should buy a lottery ticket. What are the odds of that happening?
Because it was all done, as you can see, that all the lines on my 47 comparables, I was done on an Excel spreadsheet. So I hope that it had added up correctly, and it wasn't broken up. Like, I've got it on 2 pages.
Yeah.
In my computer, it was actually on 1 complete page. So I'm assuming it was correct.
Okay. So anyways, the 12 on page 6, you didn't have a column for the square foot there. Now I know that it's up in the other area, but did you try to get to the approximately 7,000 square foot range when you picked these 12?
They're all. I mean, if you look at them, they're all pretty well the same as a subject as far as how they're designed. I mean, they're not very deep and they're wide. And as far as what a rent would go for, plus or minus a few thousand square feet, it wouldn't make any difference. When you're talking about economies of scale for these types of buildings, there is no difference. That actually goes for industrial buildings too. Like, if you rented a building that was 30,000 square feet or 90,000 square feet, there's no difference. Economies of scales on rents only really work for retail. So if you had a small little retail place in a mall, you're going to pay more rent than a large place, where economies of scale would come into play. But for buildings like this or industrial buildings, there really isn't that much economy of scale.
Okay, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
I thank you. Summation, either party?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can I start? My
Yes.
opinion is valued of the supported by comparables that very similar to the subject property and located in commercial area that more valuable that industrial area. The agent relied on comparables for different type of property, industrial and commercial, that has undervalued the subject property. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rack?
No, thank you.
All right. Let's go to the next property, which is 1392D, Regent Avenue West. Schlabel, whenever you're ready.
D. File number 22-4111, roll number 31380, business owner Super Loop Outlet Center. This property, what type of property? Let's check. It's a service garage property, has square footage of leasable area around 25,000 square feet, a land area around 146,000 square feet, located C3 commercial corridor zoning, and built 1987 with some addition 1992. 1988, between 1987 and 1988. So we assessed business at $59,014. Our area of premise 3,037 square feet. Rent, overall rent, $19.44. This rent include occupancy cost. So our base rent, $17.29. My comparables on page number second, same type of comparables that have a media of $20.50. They have superior properties located in commercial zoning, usually quick service in franchise, have pit or hoist. Superior construction quality, typical masonry construction, good quality overhead door and windows, and usually located on main thoroughfare with high visibility. Also on page number 2, so my media $20.50. We assess less als around $17 per square foot. It's fair. On same page number 2, I presented all existing leases on the subject property. We can see units 1, 2, it's owner occupied, and 6, 7, owner occupied. Let's look on units number 3. It's net lease, size 2015. There should be upward adjustment for 6 years to bring to market rent condition in 2021. It's $16 per square foot. It's around 3,000 square feet, 2,700 square feet. And we can see units in same property, number 5, leased in 2017. We have to upward adjustment rent for time. It's 4 years to be in market condition 2021. Same around 2,500 square feet at $12 per square foot. And you can see that owner leases much lower than he rent outsider. So our assessment of $17.29, it's very well supported by comparables, in fair, and should be confirmed. Annual rental value of $59,040. Thank you. Any questions?
All right, thank you. Mr. Rack, questions of the assessor?
Sure. I'm sure you didn't, but I have to ask you anyways. Have you ever been in or inspected that property?
This property was expected by my colleagues who did changes, did some square footage changes. Occupancy
That was done
change.
recently? That was done?
It was
that was done
recently.
Okay, I know about that. And would you agree that what he looked at was the super tune and the super shine? I know the assessor was there because the owner contacted me. And the assessor was there for occupancy permits on the super loop or the super shine. He didn't, and at the time, the assessor noticed that the super tune was not assessed for. So he went into those two properties. He never went into Enterprise or Miracle Dent. So I'll ask you a question. Have you been into Enterprise or Miracle Dent? You inspected any of those properties?
I specific not, but my colleagues did inspection and did update record for this property. Why we signed agreement of reduction on 1504 roll number 31239 to correct our updates.
I was the one who signed that reduction. That was for the super loop. But my point being, are you aware that the enterprise rent at $16 is higher because being a rental place where they rent cars, 50% of the area within that part of the building is all office space, renovated office space. Are you aware of that?
No, I just see what this property rent for.
Well, the rent is higher because 50% of that space is actually office space. And they don't repair cars. The other 50% of the space is just used to wash and clean cars because it's enterprise. And that's all my questions.
But this rent $16 since 2015, it should be upward adjustment for 6 years. So our $17 per square foot, it's fair.
I'm finished, Mr. Chairman.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky?
Yeah, at the beginning of your presentation, Ms. Schabel, you were saying the age of the property, year built, and that information. Where is that on your presentation?
I just look background from property.
So it's not on here anywhere. I'm not seeing it. It's not.
It's not on my presentation. It's a realty. I just opened realty existing document.
Okay. You don't typically put that on here then? On these briefs?
I was told put necessary information and have background information available for you. That's why I opened two documents same time.
Okay. Getting to your comparables again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've used these for the other properties that we've looked at today, so you're pretty consistent with that, correct?
Correct.
The same properties.
Because we have two set comparables. One service garage located in commercial zoning. It's very valuable land. Another set of comparables, industrial zoning, where land is less. That's why for commercial zoning media of similar garages, $20.50. If garages located in less visibility in more industrial area, $12, around $13 per square foot. That's why I have two set of comparables for these briefs.
Okay, do you know offhand who owns these, the use of these comparables? Like 1064 McPhillips, what is that?
Yes. Rent for Fontaine Tire.
Fountain Tire.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2?
It's Midas Auto.
Midas, okay. And
Number 3, Fontaine Tire. Number 4, Boyd Auto Body. In number 5, Mr. Loop.
Mr. Loop. Okay. So these are all franchises, correct?
Yes, franchises, good visibility, located and commercial zoning.
So those rents then that you used there, that would be what the franchisee pays to the owner of that building? Or
A specific net rent, just to rent the space. They also pay recovery cost.
they would pay it to the owner of this of these buildings, correct?
They're not owner. It's a clean net leases. They not own this building.
Yes, but who do they pay the rents to? The owner, correct?
Owner, correct, yeah.
Now, is the owner in these franchise cases, are they also the franchisor?
No.
Not in any case. So Superlube, Fountain do not own these buildings.
No, correct. Because if this franchise occupied building, we don't have leases. It's owner occupied, no lease exists.
Yes, but there's a separation between a franchisor and a franchisee. So they may be different entities, but connected. I guess that's the point I'm making.
Thank you.
All right, and no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rack, your presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make a comment on the comparables that the assessor has there. The enterprise was actually, that's when they kind of like first moved in. They don't have a lease that long. The lease was actually, I looked it up, the lease was signed in actually 2020 to 2024. And it's $16 because as I mentioned, it's 50% of that is office space when you come in to rent cars. But anyways, I'll get to my presentation. I'm not going to go through all the, I think I've touched upon all my comparables and I've come up with my rents, and I don't think I have to go through every one again. The only thing I would say is that, as you can see from page 1, the subject property is none of these parts of the garages on this property are on the highway. They're all set back. That would make a slight difference in the rent, although garages are more of a destination location. So I don't know, it wouldn't significantly impact it, although I have, I don't know if I've included in this brief, but there's 2 garages on McPhillips. They're in the same kind of situation that were for rent for $13. I'll have to see if that's in my brief. But anyway, so the bottom is Super Transmission. It's an auto mall that the owner owns all those properties, obviously. So if we go to bottom of page 1, this was for realty also. As you'll see, number 2, building number 2, that's where there's 4 units, and the mezzanine space within those 4 units is 900. There's approximately about 240 square feet in each unit. They're all built the same, right above the entrance door, the office space when you come in. Above there's a little tiny mezzanine space for storage, because otherwise, where the cars go in, you need a full height ceiling for the hoists. So if you go to page 2, you will see basically the setup and where Super Transmission is in building 2 to the right there on the aerial photograph or diagram, I should say. If you go on to page 3, as you can see, the apartment's using $21.76 per square foot. Go back to page 2, as you'll see, Super Tune and Brake is basically 3597 square feet. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Super Transmission number 6. That is 2,306 square feet. That has been on the income expense mailers forever, and this was brought up during the realty appeal and the business assessment appeal of last go around. Assessors never changed that number. And you'll see all my comparables. I've gone through them all, so I'm not going to say much about them. So we got, again, average rent is $12.96. Median falls between $13.24, $13.75. So I'm not going to go through all that stuff. We've talked about all those. So basically, I'm applying a rent of $13.50 to the main floor only for the income and expense mailer. So the main floor is only 2,306 square feet. So $13.50, no air conditioning. I'm getting an annual rental value of $36,100. And if you go to the page 12, you can see that basically the board reduced the overall net rent and removed the basement space for the Louvre Center. That is not in the appeal today. It's just 13D. The realty reduced my number to 1309. That was for 2020. And you can see in 2020, and then they used the actual space. This is with the BA of 2,306 square feet in 2020. So there's a request at that time made that the assessor should come down and inspect it or change that area. That area has been the same all the time for a decade since I've been, representing this property, and I've showed diagrams, etc., of all the spaces. And for some reason, sometimes the assessors change it after an appeal when they find errors. In this case, it wasn't changed. So the actual square footage of the main floor is 2,306 square feet, and that's the BOMA standards. And basically, I'm looking for a reduction to $35,100 annual rental value based on the $13.50 per square foot. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shebel, questions of Mr. Rack?
Yes, please. On page number 2, the subject business, it's unit number 6. Where it's presented on your map on top, we can see building 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where is 6 and 9. Which part of building it is super transmission located?
It's a building number 2, and you can see little arrows. Enterprise is on the far end to the left. Then it's the Canon Auto. Then it's Miracle Dent, and Super Transmission is on the right. Building number 2.
Okay, it's not building number 2. Thank you. No further question.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Baratsky?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Rack, the city's at, for their square footage is 3,037, and you are adamant in regards to 2,306?
That's per the income and expense mailer, because what they've done is, I don't know if they've added in that 900 square feet to that. I have no idea. Let me see if that actually works out mathematically.
About 1,000, right?
Well, that works out to 3,206. So I don't know what they've done with that mezzanine space, but this has been brought up over 2 cycles, that space is incorrect. And I've, for the realty, I've supplied diagrams and the measurements and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know what more I can do to have that changed, but I did that in the last go round. That's why I supplied that board decision, which you see lines up to my numbers of using 2,308 square feet. And I was looking to see if you were on that panel, Mr. Barrett, but I see you weren't.
That's a rarity. Yeah.
Yes, I'm adamant about that. That's the area of that location.
Okay. All right.
The Realty reduced it for 2023 also.
Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, let's go to 1585 St. Mary's Road. Ms. Schleibel, whenever you're ready.
Second, 1585. Here is me. I will be open. Sorry. Around technology. We love them.
Take your time.
Sorry about it.
No.
Okay. File number 22-4109. Business roll 51734 located on 5085 St. Mary Road in Ovner Superloop Limited. Yeah, I'm there.
Yep.
We assess subject total area 3,946 square feet. We assess at $53,460 annual rental value. In our overall rent, $13.55. That this rent include occupancy cost. So our base rent average $11.40. The subject property has existing lease only for 1,163 square feet at $10 per square foot reported. This lease was negotiated in 2015. It's 6 years before real market effective years, 2021. So this rent should be upward adjustment for time adjustment because it's different market. On page number 2, I presented same 5 comparables for $20.50. It's on. But when you look on page number 2, we can see that subject property it's owner occupied. So it is $10 could be just book rent. It's not market rent. The subject property it's service garage. Has area around 4,000 square feet of improvements. A land area around overall 14,000 square feet. What I presented more. They are fully owner occupied. It's confusing. It's fully owner occupied, but on page number 2, they showed owner occupied tenants. So based of my comparables, our assessment, our rent, it's fair. In our assessment of $53,416 should be confirmed. Thank you. Any questions?
I thank you. Mr. Rack?
Yes, it is owner occupied by the income and service trailer, and that is obviously a book rent. And I have no further questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Moretsky?
Yes, what is your definition of book rent, please?
Book rent, because if property owner occupied, sometimes they put rent just for bookkeeping, but it's not a clean net rent for us. We don't use these comparables for our briefs because it's negotiated not on market. It just owner decide put in his bookkeeping so this amount.
So, are you 100% certain that none of your comparables have something like a book rent reported.
Correct. It's clean net leases because if we have, we usually tracking, if we need it, we can track owner business and tenants business and compare who owned this business, who director, who. So we really looking into clean net leases, negotiated in market condition close to reference date. In my case, between 2018 2020, because our effective years 2021.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Schlabel, you're putting a value to the basement area of $1.
It's that's why I'm talking about average. It's just how system we put in, but average. If a whole overall $13.55, we have to minus occupation cost. It will give us $11.40 for whole property of around 4,000 square feet.
All right, I thank you. Mr. Rack, your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to just give you a little bit of background information. In 2020, 2018, and before that, the assessment department always had a rent on the basement, and a substantial rent. I argued that rent for years, and finally, last go around in 2020, the assessor stated that they're going to look at that, because I always won, but removing the basement space. It's a loop center. There's holes in the ground going into a space that's about not even 6 feet high, and it's basically an oil pit. It's terrible down there. So the assessor at the last 2020 basically stated they were going to look at the basement space. Well, in 2023, they removed the basement space on all the loop centers I have. It's gone. For some reason, I don't know why, this particular property has $1. Well, I'm going to go through and you'll show evidence to what I'm saying is factual and correct in my brief. So page 1, you'll see it's a loop center. You'll see the basement is 6 feet high. I've been down there, and you better have good traction on your shoes because you're going to go for a slide like you're in an ice rink. And you better duck going underneath those lights because you're going to whack your head. So that space is unleasable. And then you look at the bottom there where there's a hole. You basically don't want to be walking in there when there's no cars and not watch where you're walking. You're going to go through that hole and kill yourself. So the apartment's basically using $21.76 per square foot on the main floor. So there's all my comparables. We've talked about that. Go through all my pictures. We've talked about all that. I'm not going to go through that. Oh, this particular one doesn't have the information. Oh, maybe one of the other ones does. We're going to go to another loop center that has the documentation of the other sets. Oh, you know what? It could be in that end brief that we're going to see at the very end. That's where it is. Okay, but anyways, I do have documentation to show that on the other properties, loop centers, the space has been removed by 100%. There is no $1 fee. So if you go to the last page of my brief, again, I'm using the medium of $13.50 on the main floor only at 1973 square feet. Oh, I've got an air conditioning charge and there shouldn't be in there. There's no air conditioning in that building. Or maybe there is 1,300 square feet. Okay, no, that's correct. So I'm looking for a reduction down to $13.50 base rent based on my comparables. Adding the operating cost comes to $30,880 annual rental value. That's my presentation.
I thank you. Ms. Schlabel, questions of Mr. Rack?
Yes, please. On page number 1, we have picture of usable basement high ceiling. It's what we see here state. It's some container for old oil, correct?
That's correct.
So if we don't have basement in the building, where this container will be stay on main floor, correct?
Well, there actually are containers on the main floor. The whole purpose, there's a basement underneath the loop center because to make it efficient, unlike a service garage. If you went to a service garage, a regular garage, and you wanted your oil change, you need a lift. This is a purpose-built building. It only has one purpose. It doesn't do brakes. It'll change your tires. They don't do anything. They don't do mufflers. They don't do engine work. It's a single purpose-built building. The only thing they do there is loop changes, and that's why there's a hole in the ground. And it's overbuilt for that. As you see in the last picture, how thick that floor is. So there could be an argument, which I didn't make today and I've made for the realty, is that it's actually less valuable than a service garage, way more or less valuable, because you can only change oil in it. That's all you can do. And because that's all you can do, the area inside, first of all, it's inefficient building because there's two sets of doors, so the heating costs are high. The other thing is that there's only enough space for a vehicle to drive in to change the oil. I'm sure everybody here has been into one of those places. There's no extra space in front of the vehicle or behind the vehicle, especially if you go in there with a large half-ton. In a service garage, there's always extra space, probably another 12, 15 feet in the front where there's benches and the mechanics have their tools to actually work on the car. This does not have that, so it's actually an inefficient space. So by the way of comparing it to regular service garages, I think it's overvalued at $1,350. But that's what I'm using is $1,350, and this basement space is unleasable. If they moved out, you're not going to lease that basement space to someone, and someone's going to put a piece of wood over that hole, and you're going to go down there and store stuff. And to have it leasable, it actually has to have its own separate entrance. It doesn't have that, so that's unleasable space.
By the end of the day, it's a specific for this purpose built building, and basement usable. It's don't have to be leasable. It's usable. Correct?
Oh, I didn't say it's unusable. I said it's unleasable.
And specific built for this type of service garage, oil change. No further questions. Thank you.
Sanderson,
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Boretsky.
I have no questions.
Mr. Reck, I made a notation here. I think in your presentation, I don't know exactly where it is, but I think you have a value of $47,220, and I think that's stated with the city. So is that an error there, or?
The number was, what was that number? 47?
47,220. And I put, it's part of your presentation, but I don't know exactly where it is, Lyle. But obviously, I think somewhere, and I put the part. Because the city's at 53, 460.
That 47,220. That's the present valuation of the property. Is it not?
Without the basement. Without the basement. That's the assessment's value without. That's assessment without the basement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's correct.
From Ms. Shabel's presentation.
Yeah, okay. So it wasn't part of Lyle's. It's the city's presentation with no basement. Correct, Gail? I think. That's
the number from the city without the basement.
Yeah.
If you add, the square foot plus the occupancy costs, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was part of Mr. Rack's presentation, but it's not.
Let me clarify that. Let me just clarify that. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
that page one there, that 47,220, page one. I kind of looked it up and we're talking. That was an error on my part. That is actually I believe that was, let me,
Yeah. I think that's an error, Lyle. I think it should be 53,460. I think. I'm not sure.
that's what it should be. I'm trying to figure out where I got that. That could be a screen capture from, oh, you know what it is? That, I think, is a screen capture for what the annual rental value was in
Previous.
2020. Yeah, 2020. I think that's what it was.
Okay. So we'll just eliminate that.
Yeah, you better eliminate that. That's an error. I never
Okay.
picked that up. Thanks for
Okay.
showing that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's immaterial for what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I was just sort of wondering. Summation, either party?
No, thank you.
No, just to clarify that using 1350 at 30,880 annual rental value. That's it, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, just disregard that. That's from last year.
All right. Let's go on to 2026 Pembina Highway. Ms. Schlebo, whenever you're ready.
File number 22-4107, business roll number 913. It's Super Loop Limited, located in 2026 Pembina Highway. We did assess premise area 6,163 square feet at $23.50. That include occupancy cost. So our base rent $21.35. Our total annual rental value is 144,840 square feet. It's owner occupied space. I presented say 5 comparables for similar type of service garage at $20.50 median. And we can see on same page that it's owner occupied space. The subject property, it's has leasable area around 8,000 square feet and land area 14,231 square feet. It's located in commercial zoning corridor, very expensive land. On page number 3, what I'm showing. Yeah, it's subject property. It has recorded outdoor parking, 19 outdoor parking. So our assessment of $21.35, very well supported by my comparables, and the assessment is fair and should be confirmed at $144,840. Thank you. Any questions?
I thank you. Mr. Rack?
I have no questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
My only question is this location, it too is an oil change super lube location. Just wondering why there isn't a note about the basement in this property. Why there isn't an allocation of the basement as was in the previous property.
Previous property, it was specific built to change of oil, and this storage area for new and old oil. If you don't have basement for assessment, this space would be on main floor. So this square footage of main floor will be bigger to support same value, to produce same stuff, change oil. That's why our rent of basement still exists. But in this case, we have 6,000 square feet of area, but I'm not sure if they have some, how you name inside, pits. I'm not sure. If they don't have pits, they usually have hoists, so they can lift it vehicle up to make same oil change.
Okay. Okay, those are all my questions. Thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Moratsky.
So this is a super lube, correct? Oil change?
Yes, it's owner super loop. It's owner occupied building, correct?
So wouldn't the super lube that's specific for oil changes have pits? That's the way they do it, isn't it?
It can be not just change of oil. It's service garage in our system. If you look on page number 3, it's a number at Manitoba owner, but it's super loop. It's a building around 7,000 square feet. It's all service for provided there for vehicle related.
Okay, so it's not specifically just for changing oil, then it's full service.
It's only our previous case. It's specific for all oil change.
For all oil change?
No,
Or
it's all services. And this building, it's facing has good location, and usually superior construction qualities. I have my 5 comparables. So my comparables rent similar space like subject property.
So it would be for things like changing tires and things like that too.
Altogether, yes, all service for car.
There's no picture of it in this brief. Did you have pictures before? I don't remember.
No,
have you provided pictures before, or?
I didn't present it realty, but we have usually street view, air photo view. We rarely show it inside picture.
Because even an exterior picture you don't have, right? You don't have any picture at all in this brief?
No.
No further questions. Thank you.
I thank you. I have none. So, Mr. Rack, your presentation.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It's obvious. I'm not going to question the assessor because I think she's winging it as we're going here. Because first of all, the super lube, they're all built the same. They all have basements in them. They're exactly the same. There's no hoist in the super lube. And in fact, the super lube is not even in appeal today. The realty, I can send it to you right now. The realty appeal is basically from the commercial building section from the city website. The super lube is 1,536 square feet, main and basement. The building we're talking about today, because it's on a separate roll number, and it's actually below the threshold for the credit, which is 44,880, I think. So it wasn't appealed this year. I didn't appeal it. What is an appeal is a service garage behind it. That's 6,163 square feet. So the super lube is not even an appeal today. So I'm not even going to address the super lube. It's gone. Take it out of your mind. It's not an appeal. What is an appeal is a service garage behind it. And that's 6,163 square feet. So basically, we've gone through my comparables before. We know the average is 1296. We've gone through all my pictures. We know what everything's about. So I'm using 1350 again, based on my comparables. And basically, at 1350, is you will see that at 960 Pembina Highway, found tires 1275. So it's right in there at 1350, being the medium. So 1350 at 6163 square feet plus operating costs comes to 96,450 annual rental value. Thank you.
I thank you. Ms. Schlegel, questions of Mr. Rack?
No questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
I thank you. Mr. Boretsky?
So you're using $13.50 per square foot. So is that the same for the previous properties where actually was a super loop?
Yeah, I'm calling the super loop the same as the service garage, and I'm using the same rate. It's too hard to actually try to speculate what it would rent for if it went vacant, because obviously it's a single use property, and if you wanted to make it a service garage, you'd probably have to put a steel plate over that hole. So I'm just using it the same rate as a service garage.
Okay, so the $13.50 is going to cover every scenario, whether it's a service garage or dedicated oil. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. And in this case, all we're talking about is a service garage. The super lube has its own roll number.
I understand. Okay, thank you very much. No further questions.
I thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask one more question, please?
Certainly.
Just in regards to your request for a rental value of $96,450, you indicate in the occupancy cost of this building there's no air conditioning?
No, there is air conditioning. I just closed that. Give me 1 sec. That I guess that could be an error on my part.
It's on page 9.
Good catch. Yeah, I have to just open that again. If you just give me 1 second, please.
I think both party is not using air conditioning, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, the assessment department didn't use air conditioning. That's strange. It would have been the same, like the building there, as far as the main floor goes, and the building on Portage Avenue. Give me 1 sec here. They would have the same, basically the same relative space as far as air conditioning goes. Actually, you know what? The building at 34 Portage Avenue didn't have any air conditioning applied to it either. I'm just looking at that brief.
Right.
Well,
you did.
So the department didn't add air conditioning in on Portage either.
The city used air conditioning, okay? The city used the air conditioning, but you did not, Lyle.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I should correct that.
Yeah, but I put a little note here that there is no air conditioning.
If you open page 1 of my brief, air condition, we put area number 1. It showed no air condition involved in occupancy cost.
Yeah, there's no air conditioning.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Mr. Rack, you didn't use air conditioning. That's fine. So, for the one on Portage Avenue, but and this one here doesn't have air, or does it? No, it doesn't. Correct?
You know what? I would think it would have air conditioning. You know, the air conditioning charge is so minor.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
really.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think it would have air conditioning in the office, but I mean, it's a minor charge when you come to the total. I mean, if you gave me some time, I could estimate and come up with a number, but I think it's a futile exercise.
Yeah, it's fine. Mr. Rack, you talked about the threshold. The threshold this year is 44,880. Did you say?
I believe so.
Okay. We'll check that through. Okay.
I'll tell you, I'm just looking at it right now in my book. It's actually 44,220. That was for 2022. What it's going to be for this year, I guess we won't know if it changes or not. But it's 44,220.
Okay. I thank you. That's your presentation, Mr. Rack. I think you're
Yes,
at
sir.
96,450. 96,450. Yeah. Ms. Schlabel, questions of Mr. Rack?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
My questions have been asked and answered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moretsky?
No further questions. Thank you.
I think, Mr. Rack, you wanted to expand on that last piece of information that you were going to talk about. So it'll
Correct.
be your opportunity now.
Yes, sir.
And this is not rebuttal, I don't think, Mr. Rack. It's just additional information.
That's correct. I submitted at the same time I submitted the briefs. What I wanted to do is, instead of putting that information in every brief, I just put it all together in one. So we only had to go over it once, and I didn't have to include more in each brief.
Okay, that's very good, very time consuming, so you can go ahead then.
I guess you all have it opened up.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm talking about as far as the basement spaces. So page 1 is, these are examples of the basement space being removed. 1585 St. Mary's is actually the one where $1 was applied to it, and I can't understand why. But if you go to page 3, top of page, on page 2 at the bottom, you get 2026 Pembina Highway. So you'll see on page 4 at the bottom that this is the commercial section, summary for the building, which is off the city's website. And you'll see that at this particular location, it's 1536 main and basement. And if you go down, you'll see that for realty, the income stream, vehicle service, that there is no basement. 6163 is the main floor. As we were talking about, like I was saying, that property that we're dealing with today did not use the super loop. And you can see that by the 6163 square feet is the main area of the service garage. Then you got the basement area and the main floor area. That is actually the super loop, number 1. And you'll see below that there is no super loop basement. It's main floor only, standard finish. If you go to 3400 Portage, which we talked about today, basement is underneath there. And you'll see that there's 1,800 square feet basement and main floor. That's building number 1, which is the super loop. And then for some reason, there's the main floor of 5904 plus the mezzanine. So if you go down to page 7, if you added that up, you would see that the 2 premise IDs, the first one and the second one, 2708 and 3196 square feet. If you add that up, that's 5904. That's the main floor. Then you get the mezz in the garage, and that is not included. So they took it out. The assessor said they were going to. So these are, then if you go to page 8, these are the comparables the assessors used for all the service garages. And as you've seen today that I've showed, there's 47 service garage rents, and I'm sure there's more than that. That's what I could just get from a number of appeals that are requested to go through what was the comparables. So there's even more. But the assessor focused on, and some other assessors for realty have focused on these ones too. And what I want to bring to your attention is if you go down to comparison number 2, right below that, that's 2735 Pembina. That is actually I'm assuming it's a pad lease. Either that or it's basically at the back. The building in the back is the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority. So I have to make a guess. So it's only one of a couple options. Winnipeg Health Authority owns that property, and they put a pad lease out for Midas, or the owner of the property total rents out the health authority to the health authority that building, and then rents a pad lease out to Midas, because no one's going to build that building for Midas. You go to Midas's website. I was going to put all that information today, but for business assessment, I didn't want to bore you with about 46 pages that I used for realty to prove that. So basically, someone built that building, or Midas built that building, and they're renting it out to. They do rent out to some of their to a franchisee, and they're obviously going to pay more. But that's a pad lease there. If you go to page 9, you'll see there's a picture overhead view. So that's on the same realty rule number. It's not individually owned, so it's going to be substantially higher. And if you go down to page 8, 9, you'll see the address there that I've showed that's a Winnipeg Health Authority. So that's questionable. Now you go to the Vermilion, the next page, in the Lakewood. Now that's in the Southdale Shopping Center. So those would be pad leases. And you're going to pay more in a shopping center because of visibility and convenience. Someone, let's say, drops their car off to get some work done. It's going to be 2 hours. Okay, well, you can go shopping in the mall, go for something to eat somewhere else. But that is not comparable to the subject properties that we've seen in appeal to date, which are freestanding buildings on the street. This is in a shopping center. And you know, they call them CRUs, commercial retail units, that are basically built on the site of the shopping center. You're always going to pay more rent there, always. So there's some pictures of that. Fountain Tire there. That's why they're paying $20 a square foot. It's because they're on a pad lease inside a shopping center, a major shopping center. Now you go down to the next page, would be page 11. Now you got Boyd Audubon. Now, obviously, if you're familiar with that shopping center, Boyd wasn't there to begin with. That was actually a retail unit at the end there. I don't know who was there, but that was part of a retail unit in that mall. So Boyd went there and rented it. They banged the hole in the wall to put an overhead garage door in there to bring a car in. In the back, there's another one. So they're definitely going to pay higher rent to be in that mall, obviously, and to have that space converted for them to be a body shop. That's why they're paying $20 a square foot. And again, that's not comparable to the properties we're looking at today. It's just not. Okay, now you're going to comparison number 5. Keep scrolling down to page 12 after page 11. Well, now we've got the same instance. That Mr. Lube is either a pad lease. If you go down to look at the pictures, you can see the aerial picture. It's on the same realty rule number. Now we've got Midas. So what's the situation going on there? I don't know. So does the owner of Midas, who's renting that shop off Midas, basically use the pad lease to rent out Mr. Lube? We don't know, but it's obviously a pad lease. It's sitting on that same property. Now you go down 1585 Henderson Highway, which has been a comparable. It wasn't used today, I believe. Oh no, I think she used it for the service for the 1010 Arlington. You know, here's this 1585. Now it's 2930. Now you got to scratch your head. 2930. Well, it's a gas station. It's a Domo gas station, so that's not comparable. That was used for Arlington property, I believe. And here's the comparables from 2020. Now, that gas station as a comparable in 2020 had a lease that ran from up until March 2020 at $15.90 a square foot. Now, for some reason, the new lease was signed at $29.30. That's an increase of $13.40 a square foot in 2020. And I believe that was a comparable the assessor used for the 1010 Arlington. So there must be an area, there's something screwy going on there. I'd like to make a comment, as one of the panel members brought up. There's a lot of those Midas Muffler and Fountain Tires. Fountain Tire especially, that's an owner-occupied. They basically own all the Fountain Tires. Stone Tire is originally out of British Columbia. It's a family-owned business, and what they do is they rent them. They own them, but they rent them as a part of a business deal to their employees or the managers. Once the manager gets to a certain point, they will rent that building and part of the business out to, as a cooperative type deal, to one of their managers. So there could be a portion of that rent could be just renting the building, or could have some franchise piece in there. I think if you're seeing them at $11, $12, that's probably just the rent of the building. But that could be the rent of the building turnkey with all the equipment. We don't know that. But anyways, that's what I wanted to bring up, was basically those pad leases that the assessor's using. And that's why she's picked the highest ones. If I showed this, there's 47 rents out there that I got. And the assessment department has a bigger, they have a bigger data bank that I could get my hands on. So I think that's basically nitpicking to keep those rents high. So I hope this is helpful to the board as far as interpreting some of this information. I thank you for taking time to hear my argument today. And any questions?
Yes, please. Let's open page 2 of your new evidence. It's 1585 St. Mary Road. This basement is photo specific for this property, correct?
Correct.
If you open page number 3, we have same basement photo for property. I don't see what number, but on page number 4, I don't know what your address is here.
Well, that's for Pembina
I see,
Highway.
and I see same basement picture. On page number 6, I can see same picture for another property on page number 6. So
Yes,
this photo you apply for 3 different properties, same 2 photos, correct?
Sorry, say that again, please.
You apply two photos from 5085 Pembina, yeah? On page number 2, we have photos of basement area. On page number 4, same photos of basement area. On page number same photos of basement area, correct?
Yeah, they're all the same photos because they're the same photos of the basement, because the basements are all the same. Those buildings are built identical. They're all the same.
So it's your assumption the basement looks similar, all 3 different properties, that we apply just one property basement for all 3 properties, correct?
That's correct.
No further questions.
I thank you. Ms. Anderson, any questions of Mr. Rack?
I have no questions. Thank you.
I thank you. Mr. Boretsky?
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Rack, thank you for your presentations and results very soon. So I think that concludes your part here. So have a pleasant day. Ms. Schlabel, I thank you very kindly for your presentations, and I think we have concluded everything. So we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. I thank you very much, Ms. Schlabel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay, we're going to take Belen. We're going to take 5